Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. Before we dive into this powerful episode, please remember to subscribe to our channels and give us a 5-star rating on iTunes to continue hustling. This episode is brought to you by Excite Medical and the DRX 9000, Peach State Payments, Chiro HD, Softwave, Chiro Health USA, Chiro Script AI, Chiro Moguls, The Chiro Speaking Company, Pure Chiro Notes, 5-Star Forge, Titronics, Sherman College of Chiropractic, Life Chiropractic College West, and the IFCO. You can benefit from our full list of sponsors by visiting the sponsor page at chirohustle.com/sponsors. Links in the description. Now, let's hustle.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 714 of the Chiro Hustle Podcast. I'm your producer, Luke Millette, and here's your host, James Chester.
So today we had the opportunity of interviewing Dr. Shara Downey. And if you want to hear a conversation about practicing abroad in Singapore and raising a healthy family, stay tuned for the full episode. Welcome back. This is another episode of the Chiro Hustle Podcast. Today I have Shara Downey coming on from Singapore. Real pleasure to have her back on. If you guys want to go back in time and check out our first podcast interview, it was released December 24th of 2020. That was episode 207, and now we're at 714. So we had a lot of ground to cover between episode 207 and 714. Really blessed to have Shara back on. We're going to touch on some topics that are going to hopefully inspire people, give some clarity to people, and give people the idea to grow a base and to never give up for what they're going for. I mentioned she's over in Singapore. How she's creating a healthy family, I think, is really cool. Building businesses is really cool. And we're going to talk about some things that she's doing currently and where she is on the stage of chiropractic, pun intended, because I know she's hitting a lot of stages. But before we get into her episode, I'm going to let you know our big why. Why do we do what we do over here at Chiro Hustle? Well, first things first is freedom of speech. As people know, it's been a challenge over the past handful of years, specifically since our last interview, for people being censored. And we air everything that we record. We've never censored anyone. So that's a really cool thing, is we do believe in medical freedom and family health freedom too. So find a chiropractor in your city, state, country, and go get at least checked out and see if there's anything that chiropractic can do to guide your family to better health. Philosophically speaking, we protect the sacred trust. They're BJ Palmer's last written words. If you don't know what that is and you say you've never heard of chiropractic before, you're just finding this show. Go click on the show notes and read what the sacred trust is. You're going to find so much more value in this profession than you did before. If you're a chiropractor and you know this profession, still go click on that link and refresh yourself. And if you're a chiropractic student or a new grad and you need philosophy, please tap into old episodes. And if you're out there listening, just share the show with somebody so they can start understanding what this beautiful profession does. We're also subluxation. We believe in subluxation-based chiropractic. We believe in innate intelligence, universal intelligence, and the educated intelligence. I know I shouldn't have to say these things, but they're removing this language from the chiropractic colleges globally, and that's a problem. So every time I talk about this woo-woo idea of connecting man or woman, the physical to man or woman, the spiritual through the adjustment, it's real. And that's a big part of the premise of this profession that most people don't talk about. So I'm glad that we highlight that during this introduction. This is episode 714. This is Shara Downey. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. So happy to be here.
Yeah, there's a lot to pack into making sure that people understand chiropractic, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
And the more concise that we can make it, the more strategic we can brand it, the more that people have access to it. Like it's 2025. We all need to get there.
Yeah. I know you would think 2025 would be leaps and bounds ahead. There have been things in the past few years that have kind of put us back some, but I feel it's the confidence and the inner strength that each practitioner can have and bring to their practice that actually is going to raise the vibration globally.
Yeah. You know, I think it's really cool that you're representing Asia. and that you're doing big work over there. Like, I don't know. Like I was saying off the camera, I've never been to Asia, so I don't know what the profession's doing over there. So it's really cool to have you on so we can talk about these things.
Well, firstly, I would love to say that we must be making waves, because in the last few years for us, I know the government's been clamping down, making it much more difficult for chiropractors to come to Singapore, and in general for clinics to run efficiently. So we must be doing something right. But it's very beautiful to see the marriage of a quote Western allied health, if you will, very similar to some of the traditional healths that they do have here. You know, you've got traditional Chinese medicine, there's Ayurvedic medicine in the Indian community. So there's not that big of a leap for people to understand that we can help without being a medical model. The beautiful element we get is we get to educate on how we get to do that. And people are open to listening, opening to taking a chance, and really understanding how their families can benefit.
Yeah. You know, before chiropractic, there's chakras, there's chi, there's balance. You know, there's these different types of methods of realigning the spirit and the energy inside of someone's body.
Absolutely.
I think it's really cool that we have grown for the past 130 years in this profession, and now it's chiropractic, and chiropractors are doing that through the adjustment and realigning, you know, the vertebrae to take pressure off the nervous system, allow the body to heal naturally like it's supposed to. But I think it's really cool that there's such a lineage, and now chiropractic is this evolution to where we are today from, you know, all the things that you mentioned and the ideas of realigning the body and the energy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's not new over there.
No, that concept isn't new. I think the element that there's a physical touch, they can feel almost immediately the difference, is what's eye-opening and encouraging for people. And then they can tie it in with maybe some of the Chinese herbs they're taking, or tie it in with some of the meditative practices that they do, and they can see the enhanced benefits of putting it all together.
Yeah, I mean, it's fascinating when you take chiropractic and you spread it globally. And, you know, just to get back to the roots, like chiropractic is 130 years into its like growth pattern. Like, I think that a lot of people don't really understand to resonate, like how new of a profession chiropractic is. And
where
as
it's come. Yeah. How
yeah,
new it is and where it's come. Yeah.
yeah. And, you know, people might not even know that they used to arrest chiropractors for practicing medicine without a license. And just that type of turbulent life that chiropractic has like lived through to where we are today, where chiropractors can practice with a license globally. It's amazing.
Well, we still have some of that here. About 5 years ago, we had all of the chiropractors chased out of Indonesia. It was illegal overnight. People lost $1 million practices. They had to leave their homes in the middle of the night. It became illegal overnight. So it still happens.
And see, that's the part where having a conversation like this can reignite some of these things that I don't know about. I don't know the global impact of what's happening. You know, stateside, I see a lot of what's happening, like geopolitically. I see what's happening at the colleges. I see what's happening with groups and coaching, all those things. But when you start to think about this profession as a global profession, there's so many things that are happening. I just need to build my awareness too. So what's happened between the last couple of years? I know we were talking about it off camera, and you said that there's been some really cool things you've been doing, speaking more, creating more business opportunities, some growth. Let's talk to people about that.
Well, thank you. Last time I spoke with you, I had 4 kids. I still have 4 kids, but they're now a lot bigger. But I was running one of my first practices, and you know, I had the opportunity to sell that when I had my 3rd child, and I wasn't really going to practice again. And I had a lot of patients emailing and calling, and so I had the benefit of starting a second, more boutique. Right, with 4 little children, I decided I didn't want to go 6 days a week and 7 to 12 hours a day. So I made the hours what I wanted. I could work around parent volunteering and rugby clubs, and that grew, you know, fast and furious in 7 years. and we got acquired by a big conglomerate, which is beautiful. And now we're part of a big clinic group that I'm able to help them run 7 different clinics and help train their doctors. And that gives me freedom as well, still to now be able to share chiropractic around the world. So I'm able to speak on how to really benefit and impact our patients' lives, helping other practitioners grow their impact. And so I've been in Australia this year and Vietnam and Malaysia, and just really hoping and looking to see that grow so that we get more connection globally for our practitioners. So they feel the support, they feel that there's someone there for them. They feel that we're in the same boat and growing together, and really having that lifeline. If something's happening and you really don't know what's going to go, where do I turn? What do I see? What do I say? There is that thread, that common thread, and it's around the world, right? That red thread is there. Where do you connect to it?
Yeah, globally, I think it's really cool that you've figured out how to build this momentum and work with other practitioners and support them and build a base. And after, would you say, 22 years of practice, you've learned systems and a base of how to grow an organization. And now you're teaching and implementing and giving the frameworks to other groups to be able to do this for their countries too, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So I work with the Alliance of Chiropractic Singapore, and as a board member and membership chair, we've implemented some, small strategies for our small group to grow, because the Singapore Association is newer, right? And there's a lot of countries here that are trying to build that stability for themselves. Vietnam, Hong Kong, Malaysia, we're all trying to create a bit of connection within our own country that gives us legitimacy for the government as well, because we saw what happened in Indonesia, and we don't want that to happen for us as well. And we're supporting a lot of Indonesian docs. Like overnight, Singapore had probably 3 times more chiropractors because people had to leave Indonesia to come here. And so by doing so and building this really strong association, we're able to help other countries do the same.
How are things now in Indonesia? Are they still like no chiropractic?
There are people practicing manipulative therapies, but there are no chiropractors in Indonesia.
Gosh, how do we change that?
At the moment, it's still a political, governmental situation. And you also are dealing with governments that work in practices that are not common in the West. I don't want to say bribery, but there is an element of having to pay to play in these countries. And then certain section.
We call that lobbying over here.
Okay, there you go. So we may need to lobby more then in Indonesia. But the fire has kind of calmed down a bit. I know a few people that have gone back and they've set up different styles of clinics, but able to still perform chiropractic, but just under a different umbrella.
Yeah, I have a friend of mine that runs a Chiropractic Alliance podcast, Baron Hoig. He's out of Ohio. He might be somebody that we can get focused on that thing.
Yeah.
Resources are important.
And that's it. Yeah, the resource is massive. I think the other element is a lot of times in these countries, because there's no college, if you will, the practitioners coming in are Westerners or foreigners, and they may or may not have the long vision of staying. So you may start momentum to get that process going, and then these people leave. No fault of their own, but there's no local people that are trained that then carry the torch. And so that's one beautiful thing that started to happen in Singapore. We're getting a lot more local practitioners who've either gone to Australia, the US, they've come back to practice here. So we want to build the foundation of chiropractic in Singapore so strong that, after 30, 40, 50 years, if I retire, that it's still going here. That legacy is still happening because there's local individuals that live here that are not leaving.
Yeah, the pioneer spirit. So now that you're working with these 7 clinics, what strategies are you doing to help foster growth, and what are you doing to inspire people to, create bigger and better?
It's interesting. The first thing I realized is people commonly say, I have a problem getting new patients, or I don't have enough patients. No, you don't. Anyone can do an ad or marketing or whatever, but it's what you do with the person that comes in the door. So I actually go from big to small sometimes and have them focus on the individuals coming in the door, how to best maximize that experience so that you are doubling that person into more referrals. And then also building this sort of catching net. A lot of chains or multiple clinic owned locations don't really think of retention. It's burn and churn, right? So we have a lot of people coming in the new door, new through the door. We have the blessing of 80, 100 new patients a month. Great. But are you keeping 80 new patients? Are you keeping 50 of them? How to keep that leaky bucket smaller. That means a better experience. That means a better reputation, means a sustained clinic so that on a month you get only 20 new patients instead of 100. You're still going to be doing okay.
Yeah. Over the years, I've heard that phrased as get them to stay, pay, and refer.
That also. Yeah.
And I do think the most beautiful thing about chiropractic is the power of one, taking care of one person, doing the right thing for that one person, telling them the chiropractic story, tell them about how the brain connects the body to the nervous system, and taking the pressure off of the subluxation allows the body to come back and to be self-healing. And if you do that the right way and it starts to make an impact, people will go out there and pull people out of their houses and bring them to you.
Yeah. But it's amazing. It really will happen if you have your correct connection and the correct way to explain these things. The number of times we've had people come in from a voucher system or, something that's a bit of a promo. Maybe they come once or twice, but that person may refer to us 5 times in the year. They may never even accept care, but they've now sent me 6 people who are accepting care. It's really amazing. Like, take the time with every single person. You never know the ripples that will have the effect of. I have kids who've asked their parents, 2, 3 years old, I need to see Dr. Shara. They don't know why. I need to see Dr. Shara. They come in. The parent comes in because the toddler has been incessant for months about coming in. That's amazing.
It's funny to me because I've done 800 spinal screenings and there's kids that are tugging on their parents. I want to go see the chiropractor. And the parents are like, always. You don't need to go see the chiropractor. You're only 7. You're only 8. You're a kid. And I say to the parents, I'm like, yeah, kids are usually smarter than their parents.
Yeah.
And, not like trying to like make them feel awkward or bad, but I'm like, the kid's right. Like, it is chiropractic and children and their decision making. Like, it just makes sense to them. Why would I want to go see? Why do I want to go see the doctor that like, does other stuff to me?
I want to see the non-scary doctor.
Yeah. And I think that's culturally people are starting to wake up to that is, after scheduling an 11,000 new patients, I've realized that people more now today, they're looking for something as a wellness model. They're looking for something as a family care model rather than being like reactive when something is like broken or they're sick or stuff of that nature. Like, I do think that the whole pandemic pushed people to a point where now they're more curious about retaining health rather than chasing it down once it goes away from them.
Oh, it was an absolute blessing in that regard. People are looking outside. People are open to questions. People are open to discussions that may never have had that opportunity before.
Yeah, a lot of things have happened since the past interview that we've had with you. So knowing where you are in Asia right now and knowing how things are going in Singapore, knowing what happens in Indonesia, and how do you see things developing over there? I guess during our current administration over here in America, I know we just got a new president, but when I think about the next 4 years, we have a big push over here stateside to make America healthy again. What do you see happening over in Asia during this time frame?
Well, it's a big question, actually, because I think for example, Malaysia has a chiropractic college now, and we really are working hard to support it so that it can stay legitimate. It kind of goes in and out of accreditation. So we really want to help that school keep its solid base and stability so that accreditation stays so that we can produce more chiropractors for Asia. And also help that association in general to be so tight that when these new grads are coming out, they have a place for support. They have a place to ask questions because they're learning in a very very, very medical model. And a lot of them haven't done half of the adjustments we did when we learned in school. They definitely don't learn any philosophy, and they come out as, let's say, half of what we did with the skill. And so to help bring them up to speed, that's sort of a mission of the association and myself as well, to really make sure that when people are going out into communities, they feel supported, confident, but also understand, watch your patients. The people in front of you are going to teach you. You learn your, 3 times a week for 2 weeks and whatever you're allowed to do in school, but that goes out the window the minute you open your practice, because everyone's different. They don't adjust the same. They don't say the same things. They have different lifestyles. They eat different things. They have different medicines. Their bodies are affected by the environment in so many different ways. You have to learn from your patients. And I think those first few years for myself, I'd work in the clinic, and then I would go to one of the clinics that was in my associate. Like when I was a first associate, we had a clinic of 4 chains, and I would work at lunchtime. I would go to another clinic and watch a doctor do a new patient. I would go to another clinic and get adjusted. I would go to another clinic and do traction. I was doing learning every single day for probably 18 months, the first minute I landed in Singapore, to get a sense of what's happening. How do I get better? How do I speak better with patients so they get what we do? What are other doctors doing? What do they know that I don't know? It's the element of curiosity versus coming to it thinking you know everything that's going to allow people to grow and also push our profession forward, because then you can incorporate what you're learning.
You made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. This episode is brought to you by Excite Medical and the DRX 9000, Peach State Payments, Chiro HD, Softwave, Chiro Health USA, Chiro Script AI, Chiro Moguls, The Chiro Speaking Company, Pure Chiro Notes, 5-Star Forge, Titronics, Sherman College of Chiropractic, Life Chiropractic College West, and the IFCO. You can benefit from our full list of sponsors by visiting the sponsor page at chirohustle.com/sponsors. Links in the description. Now, let's hustle. Yeah, I do believe that the model that you've come to find as the baseline for chiropractic practice is very important. And I do think that the global representation for people to understand how we have to, once again, lobby for retaining the profession to where it has a high standard and that it doesn't get infiltrated with big pharma, and that it stays pure and unsullied, as BJ would call it. And we have to really start banding together to support the philosophy, it sounds like, and adjusting techniques and having adjusting seminars come over. I think that that's a huge driving force for even stateside practitioners and chiropractors. I talk to people that are looking for associates quite a bit. And one of the things that they'll tell me is I have to train this doc once they finish college for like 6 months and get them up to speed. Like there's no finishing school for chiropractic. It's like, get your diploma and here, off to the wolves. They'll get you.
Yeah.
and if you're good enough at taming the wolves, you're successful. And I think that, it's true. Like we throw the young out, and it's not like a residency. They don't get a chance to take like clinicals and go work inside of like a big institution and have guidance and mentorship and a system and a track that just produces them to become the doctor. Like if you're lucky, you go do a mission trip and you learn how to adjust. If you're lucky, you have good mentors and somebody taught you what a green book was and what philosophy is, and they introduce you to guys like Reggie Gold and Jim Sigapus. Or you were plugged into somebody that helped start your career that was a chiropractor, and they got you learning about going to seminars and meeting the people that speak at big conferences and taking notes and learning about the profession from other practitioners. And I think that it's important that we do have conversations like this to inspire people to bring their adjusting seminars to Asia, and to create little pockets where we create philosophy nights, and people start firing themselves up about why this profession's amazing. And I think that there is a huge future, that sounds like, over where you're at.
Oh, absolutely. And as it is, we're, as an association, trying to find out how to bring in interns. legally, work visa wise, to give people those opportunities. There are clinics here willing to bring in students for 3-month rotation, 6-month rotation, to give them that opportunity. So I don't know, there's still the legality and how to bring them in, but it can be done. We need to get connected with schools. We need to be able to have opportunities for these students to come out. So it may not be a missions trip per se, but you're still going to be in a working clinic, very high volume, learning from practitioners who've done it. A lot of them American, Canadian, Western, Australian, whatnot. But having that opportunity would be massive. I created that opportunity when I got here, but not a lot of people will do that. Like
Yeah.
I went as a stranger. I knocked on doors. I felt like a door salesman. I'm like, hi, I'm a new chiropractor. Can I learn from you? But not a lot of people will do that.
Yeah, it takes a lot of courage. And I think that that's what these conversations do. They inspire people. They allow people to see that if I just learn how to do that one thing, everything else will change for me. And I think, honestly, people talk to me about the profession often. And one of the things I always pull away with is like, look, go do as many techniques as you can as a practitioner to learn the art of chiropractic. And go and train with different groups and get your skills and your relationship strong within the profession, and you'll do great.
Yeah.
And I think that that's where they start really going down the pathway to understand philosophy too. Because if you don't know why you would apply an adjustment and what it does to somebody philosophically, it's just manual manipulation like they're doing in Indonesia.
Yeah.
Like when you remove the philosophy, it's just manual manipulation.
Yeah.
And when we have philosophy, it becomes chiropractic.
Yeah. And that's for me, that's what I call connection, right? If you don't know the person, and I mean, know the person in front of them, right? Know their worries, know their desires, know what's happening in their life. You're going to be able to see elements of subluxation they haven't even thought of. You're going to be able to kind of stop the car crash before it happens. You're going to be able to open up those conversations, great questions that allow people to broaden their perspective. You're not telling them things. You're allowing them to get curious for themselves so that when they are having a reaction based on the adjustment, they actually know what to attribute it to. If we're not having these conversations, people are coming in and getting adjusted and they don't even realize the impact that you've had on their body.
Well, one of my talking points that I'm getting interviewed on a show next week, and it's called "How Does Chiropractic Fit into the Maha Movement?" And that's Make America Healthy Again. And I honestly, my response to like this type of a question or this type of like a conversation is, I believe that medical tyranny would have taken the world over if it wasn't for chiropractic and the chiropractic philosophy. I believe that it was like check. And if chiropractors would have laid down and wouldn't have held their ground for chiropractic globally, it would have been checkmate. And it would have been game over. It would have been everybody has to step in line and do these things. But the chiropractic love and the chiropractic energy and the chiropractic profession had enough moxie and wherewithal to not lay down and to stick to chiropractic principle and philosophy and truth, and to not get absorbed by big box medicine and the medical mafia and the pharma culture. Like, I think that chiropractic is that one thing that kept medical freedom for everyone.
Yeah.
So I think the more that we understand the power of the philosophy of chiropractic, the more that we can start to get the fire in the bellies of those future chiropractors too.
Yeah. And give them permission. I think that's the big thing, is granting permission to say, you're allowed to learn, you're allowed to change, you're allowed to be different. You don't have to be the same. And there's someone that went before you that did it, so just be supported. Know that can happen.
And imagine when what you're doing there with these rounds of the interns coming in and practicing real life chiropractic with real life doctors and real life clinic settings, and that becomes the model for America. I think that that's really what we're missing. We're missing like an interim between the graduate and the business starting. And I think that there's just a culture where we say, go get your diploma and now go practice. And then we're saying, hey, get in this strange partnership relationship with this person that owns a practice and do your best with it. But you don't have any legal representation and you have a massive debt and here, just go figure it out for yourself.
Yeah.
I think if there was some type of an interim to exit and like a finishing school for chiropractors to say, this is how you go into the real world, like a residency.
Yeah.
Geez. I mean, just makes sense.
It makes sense. Yeah.
And then you have practitioners that are long in the game that can now bring somebody in as an associate and do it the right way and earn trust and build a business and pass on your legacy rather than saying, hey, it's the 11th hour. How do I get out of chiropractic practice?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when I was in school, which is surprising, we had that opportunity. So we finished our clinical hours, we finished our numbers. We had the opportunity to find a pre-selected clinic that the school approved and go work in the community for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months before graduation. And I have to say that was probably one of the best things I did. I kept notes from that clinic for probably my first 10 years of practice, just so I knew how I was going to be running things.
Yeah, and that's the valuable thing is we evolve with our lives and with our businesses, and who mentors us and how we get information. Over 22 years, I guess where we are today, who's mentoring you today?
Oh my goodness, so many people. So the first thing I want to say is, as someone that's a bit more seasoned, I don't just look above, I actually look below. There's some new chiropractors or what I call younger chiropractors that are on fire, doing amazing things. And I reach out to them too, to be reignited, to see beautiful ways to incorporate things into my practice. So like one of them is Dr. Kim Thor-Adams. She's doing amazing things with kids and pediatrics, and her energy is just fire. Love it. And so I look below to be encouraged and to move forward. And then I look above as well, right? So still working with Dr. Ed Osborne, working with Liz Anderson Peacock, and, even Heidi Havoc stuff I love. And it's people that have paved the way in different avenues that I haven't done that I still look for to say, oh, how can I do something new? Again, it's the idea of being curious. You have to be open all the time. You will never know everything. You will never be the best at everything. So being open to being curious allows you to be more impactful.
Yeah. And it's like the old saying, I think when the student's ready, the master arrives or something like that.
Yeah.
And I honestly believe that the mentors find us too. And relationships and admiration go a long way when we start building these bonds with people. And yeah, Kim is amazing. Liz is amazing. Ed is amazing. Like you have a good group of people that are filling your tank with connection and inspiration and system and strategy and excitement. I think that's the most important thing is to be in community and build a community, whether it's virtually or in person. And I know chiropractors are masters of building community like in person for their practices, but the global connection is really important for people to stay plugged into those relationships too.
Yeah. And like I was working with Lawrence Tam for some time in Australia, and now he's gone to Portugal. And so like that impact now, we have a plug-in into Europe. And I think for us, especially when we are a bit on the fringe, it can very easily get lonely out here. We're different time zone. We don't have people right next door. I can't just walk down the street, besides my handful of doctors here, but getting that global community where you're connecting in is massive.
Yeah. And I know that this takes us full circle almost is you're saying that you're getting more stages and speaking more places. And I know you said that Australia, Malaysia, Vietnam. How is that going for you?
It's amazing, actually. So what I thought would be the direction I would take, working with entrepreneurship, leadership, global teams, has actually come full circle back to health. So I'm working with a lot of big health groups that run chiropractic clinics and really want to know how to increase impact in those practices. And having that opportunity is amazing. I didn't realize from a stage I'd be able to do that, except let's say at a chiropractic conference, which we don't have a lot of in Asia. So having that opportunity has been amazing. And just seeing what people's motivation and inspiration is globally helps me to actually pass that on to others as well. Because there's people from Vietnam that are practicing probably undercover and have massive, massive inspiration to do so. So how can I take that fire and help pass that to someone who might have a lot of resources, but they lack their motivation?
Mm. Yeah, I think that it's really cool to see that you're taking, like I said from the beginning, the base of what you've seen happening in Singapore and creating a model. And now you're seeing how that this can be frameworked into um, other groups and how
Mm.
that they can take it and run with it and build a community and basically the standard of how to grow a profession. And I think that that's really cool is globally, we do need to have that connection of what does it look like to go this way? What does it
Mm.
look like to hold our ground? What does it look like to create a brand of chiropractic in a new country that might not understand this profession so well?
Yeah, true.
Um, at this spot, like what are you doing like as a brand and company? Like what are you doing to promote? Is there anything that you wanted to share with our audience today that you're working on?
Oh, thank you. Actually, at the moment, I have a Facebook group. It's the, Clinic Practice Growth Hub, and it's more for practitioners to come together, share ideas, collaborate. Anything I've learned here, I'm throwing in there as well, but really to keep the conversations going so that people have, again, an online resource somewhere they can tap into. It's not that we don't have enough information. It's what information that we have matched with what we need to do and being able to distill that down. So my love is making things simple but effective. I don't like too many things. It makes me afraid. And as a mother of four, I'm running an army. So I like things to be very concise and orderly, but also things that are effective. I don't want to have to do 17 things when I can do one and it works perfectly.
Yeah, I honestly, I commend you for all the work that you're doing, building groups, building communities, um, speaking, doing podcasts, raising family. Like there's so much that goes into keeping positive with all of the moving pieces, and like you say, not becoming too afraid. I think
Mm,
that there is definitely something that must be driving you, and keeping this profession strong globally, I think is a really important thing. And like you said, creating resources,
yeah.
and I do think that everybody should join your group. Once again, where do they find that? What is it?
It's called the Clinical Practice Growth Hub.
The Clinical Practice Growth Hub. And what's the name of the conglomerate that you're a part of over there?
Winning Wellness.
Winning Wellness. That's a great name.
Hmm.
And do you guys have any projections over the next couple of years for the group?
The my clinical group or the
Yeah,
Facebook group? Oh, the
the
clinical group.
clinical.
Yeah, I think we're looking to grow by about 4 more practices.
That's cool.
Yeah, so from 7 to 11.
7-Eleven, lucky numbers, I hear.
Uh-huh.
Well, at this juncture, is there anything I didn't ask you that you'd like to talk about?
No, I just really want to encourage people, stay strong. I know there's times where you wake up, you go into the clinic, and honestly, you think, why am I doing this? What's it for? What's happening? Go back to literally the exact moment you decided to go to school. Write down 10 things that you remember of why you wanted this profession. Write down 10 things that you remember through school and even in the beginning of practice that you were thinking, oh, these are wins. These are awesome. Even if it's a simple thing like, oh gosh, that new patient really got it. That new patient referred. And keep those around, because there are going to be days that you really need to remind yourself, give your brain social proof of what you've done and why you're doing what you're doing. If you
Mm.
have kids, your kids are modeling you. They're monitoring you. You asked me what keeps me going. My eldest is 13. He's on the U15 national rugby team, and he's telling his teammates about chiropractic. I don't need to take medicine. My mom's going to adjust me. My kid played on a broken leg last year. He didn't even know it because not that we didn't know he had it either, but he had been maintained and properly aligned and working well. He just had a pinch of pain every now and then when he ran. The doctor was shocked that he didn't know he had a broken leg, right? We got through nationals, then he wore the cast. So your kids and other people that are monitoring you will model you. So you are having an impact even if you don't realize it.
The story that you just shared there, it takes me back to like day one of me starting my path with chiropractic. I interviewed this guy named Fred Schofield, and he
Mm,
taught me about how Palmer Rugby spread chiropractic globally.
mm,
Because what would happen is Palmer Rugby was the first college, and they would recruit student athletes from around the world and they had a rugby club, and that's how they would bring them in as on scholarship. They'd teach them how to become chiropractors, and then they'd go home to their origin country, and then they would set up shop and become chiropractors. So a lot of people don't know this, but rugby is the reason why chiropractic is global, because of the Palmer rugby team.
Wow, that's amazing. I love that. I have 4 rugby players, so for me, that's important. That's amazing.
Yeah. Palmer College is the reason why chiropractic's global, because of rugby.
Wow.
Because they what they would do is they would go around and find the top players in the world and recruit them to become chiropractors and to play rugby at the same time. And that's how it all happened back in the 60s.
Oh, I love that.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
And congratulations for the boys doing well with sports, and congratulations with all the speaking engagements that you're doing, and
Thank
the
you
growth
so
of
much.
chiropractic within that practice group. And I'm just really thankful that we could reconnect again. And it's been 5 years. Let's not let it be so long.
Thank you so much for having me. I've totally enjoyed it, and hopefully one person is encouraged and stays to stay.
Yeah, and if you guys get to this part of our conversation today, please share the show. Go over to chirohustle.com, click subscribe, share, become curious about this beautiful profession, and just stick with what you're doing. The world needs you. The world needs more chiropractic. They need more healers. And I close out like I always do, and I tell everybody, you guys are just one story away. Keep hustling. Yes. Dr. Shara, thanks for being our guest today.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, we'll talk soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.